Marketplace is coming up next here on WNYC. Long before Phoenix, Arizona was defined by urban sprawl and high-tech manufacturing, it was dotted with native trees and plants.
We're about to transfer about 2,000 of these from their native state into a nursery.
An oasis in the desert. That's coming up next on Marketplace here on WNYC. 64 degrees now, going down to 55 tonight. We'll have mostly cloudy skies. We'll start the day mostly cloudy. Tomorrow becoming sunny and quite warm with a high of 84. It's 6:30.
Support for WNYC comes from the New York Phil presenting Sound Dawn. In the next installment, Kwame Ryan conducts new music by Mary Kayumjan, Hannah Kendall, Michelle Vandera, and Peter Utvish. May 10th at David Geffen Hall. Tickets at nyphil.org.
WNYC, independent journalism in the public interest. 93.9 FM and AM 820. NPR News and the New York Conversation.
Marketplace is supported by Betterment, the automated investing platform that helps make it easy to be invested for the long term. Learn more at Betterment.com. Investing involves risk.
Someday, the Federal Reserve is going to cut interest rates. That day, however, is not today. From American Public Media, this is Marketplace.
Marketplace is supported by Viking, exploring the world in comfort. With a fleet of small ships, Viking offers travel experiences for the thinking person. Discover more at Viking.com. And by Twilio Segment. Segment helps every team access good data that's real-time, clean, and accurate. The result is relevant customer experiences that drive real revenue. Segment.com. And by the Financial Times, whose distinctive pink pages fearlessly report U.S. news with a global perspective. There's more at FT.com.
In Los Angeles, I'm Con Risdall. It is Wednesday today, the first day of May. Good as always to have you along, everybody. All right, let's see if we can do this. Fed Chair Jay Powell's press conference in 2 minutes or less. The important points, the subtext, and what happens next. You ready? All right, here we go. The important point. When, oh when, Chair Powell, are you gonna cut rates?
So I don't know how long it'll take. I can just say that when we get that confidence, then rate cuts will be in scope, and I don't know exactly when that will be.
Okay, fine. Some subtext then, please.
What do we now see in the first quarter? We see strong economic activity. We see a strong labor market, and we see inflation. We see 3 inflation readings. So I think you're at a point there where you should take some signal. We don't like to react to 1 or 2 months data, but this is a full quarter, and I think it's appropriate to take signal now, and we are taking signal. And the signal that we're taking is that it's likely to take longer for us to gain confidence that we are on a sustainable path than a 2% inflation. That's the signal that we're taking.
It's a lot of signal, right? Signal for noise. Okay, finally, now what happens?
I think there are paths that the economy can take that would involve cuts, and there are paths that wouldn't. And I don't have great confidence in which of those paths. I think I would say my personal forecast is that we will begin to see further progress on inflation this year. I don't know that it will be sufficient. I don't know that it won't. I think we're going to have to let the data lead us on that.
The upshot then? No rate cuts, but no hikes either. Inflation is still too high, and they're going to wait for the data. Not bad. Minute and 45 seconds, right? Wall Street today, traders do love them some Jay Powell. I'll tell you what, we'll have the details when we do the numbers. There was some discussion of wages at Chair Powell's press conference this afternoon, and that, as the chair said, wage growth is going to have to slow down for inflation to get back to the 2% the central bank is looking for. Not completely slow down, Powell said, but to a level that is, and this is his quote, more sustainable over time. So Marketplace's Justin Ho asked a couple of business owners how they are thinking about pay these days, and to the Fed's point, whether the pressure they feel to raise those wages is easing.
Things have been pretty busy at Ekiben, a sandwich chain in Baltimore. Owner Steve Chu says he's working on opening up a new location and developing a different restaurant concept, which means he's been doing a lot of hiring.
All the time. We're hiring 24/7, 365.
Chu says to find talented people to fill positions, he has to offer them competitive wages. During the pandemic, Chu says he raised wages around 40 to 50%, in large part because he had no other choice.
To be able to compete with Target or Walmart, we have to pay somewhere in like the $20 an hour range. So it was a very, very hard shock to everybody,
including his customers. Chu raised menu prices to cover the higher wages, and he says some customers felt sticker shock.
We thought it was going to be awful. We thought we were going to get a lot more blowback than we did. But the second we kind of explained why we were doing it, our guests were really receptive and really supportive.
And now, since Chu already raised wages, he says the Band-Aid's been ripped off, even though he's trying to fill about 40 positions right now.
The pressure is not there to raise wages as much because we already pay higher than our competitors.
Not every business has been able to keep up with the competition. Jennifer Nizgoda runs a market near San Diego called Alfresco. She hired a couple new workers in April, and she's been paying them $17 an hour, just above the California state minimum.
These people are qualified for more, but it's also challenging for us to be able to afford to pay those wages, honestly.
Nizgoda's been thinking about other ways of boosting her employees' compensation. For example, her business runs events, wine tastings, wedding showers, corporate parties, both in the back of her market and at clients' homes. Nizgoda says her employees can earn a lot more working those events because her clients are footing the bill.
If they want a server to stay, we can charge a different wage than the minimum wage hourly.
And Nizgoda says for a lot of these events, clients will tip to the tune of a few $100.
And so then that service or gratuity plus the higher hourly goes directly to our staff.
Some businesses have been stretching their payroll dollars by finding workers who want part-time positions.
All of our team members want to be able to show up about 30 hours a week.
That's Madeline Reeves, the owner of Fearless Foundry, a marketing and consulting firm near Seattle. Last summer, she decided to only hire part-time employees. She's expanded her staff from 3 to 9. Reeves says a work week that's 10 hours shorter than usual is a big selling point for her new hires.
Some of us, put that time towards our families. Some of us put that time towards other creative endeavors, other clients, other projects that they have outside of Fearless.
Reeves says there are plenty of benefits for her business, too. For one, part-time employees are a lot cheaper than a full-time staff.
Running a payroll that at times was upwards of $80,000 a month, on top of 401ks, on top of PTO, all the things that I offered people, it literally didn't work.
Reeves says her part-time staff is also more productive.
If you're going to be showing up for 30 hours, those have to be 30 really clearly defined productive hours where we're getting, great work from you.
Reeves says over the past year, nobody has left the company voluntarily. She says that's a sign that her new staffing model is working. I'm Justin Ho for Marketplace.
Inflation's still a thing, yes. The economy is growing more slowly, sure, but growing. Consumers, whatever their notoriously volatile moods, are still spending, and most businesses are doing all right. So we decided today would be a good day to get a little ground truth on how one of those businesses is doing. Austin Golding is the CEO of Golding Barsline down in Vicksburg, Mississippi. Austin, it's great to talk to you again.
Great to talk to you, Kai.
How is business in the barge business? First things.
Well, volumes are good. We're seeing our business is better this year than when I've talked to you in years past. I think we've seen a lot of stabilization in our volumes and demand, and we haven't had things like pandemics to try to recover from or go through. We have had low water, which we dealt with. We had a low water condition in the entire lower Mississippi River Valley, but we've persevered, and this year's been pretty consistent, predictable, and profitable.
That is a function. That strength you're seeing is a function of the strength of the economy, right? The the fundamentals, as the politicians like to say, are good. And so you're seeing that.
We are. We are seeing the inflation that we've all experienced still linger within the new construction and repair part of our business, though.
Oh, say more about that.
To build our equipment is more expensive than ever. To repair it is more expensive than ever. The ability for me to grow is really inhibited by that cost structures.
Yeah, we've been talking a long time, you and I, Austin, and I have never asked you this, and I probably should have. Where does Golding Barge Line fit in the pantheon of Mississippi River barge companies? Are you guys a giant? Are you medium sized? What are you?
Well, the short answer is medium size. Kind of a more drilled down on answer. In the tank barge world, I would guess we're somewhere between number 10 and number 15.
Okay.
With the unique, I would say, disposition that we operate nationwide. You have a lot of regional carriers that may be bigger than us, but our ability to go nationwide is really what separates us.
How do you get nationwide from the Mississippi River? Do you go out into the Gulf and go to other waterways, or you just go up and around sort of the Mississippi?
Well, that's kind of, I'm glad you brought that up. We're connected not only through the parts of the country that everybody's familiar with, the Ohio River, the Illinois River, but we also go all the way along the Gulf Coast, from Brownsville, Texas, all the way to Panama City, Florida, which includes a lot of locks and dams that help connect us to the system down there that are really aging and are really starting to come on the back end of their useful life.
It's interesting you mentioned locks and dams and by extension infrastructure, because we've been doing a lot of infrastructure on this program with the CHIPS bill and the infrastructure law and all that. What I hear you saying is maritime infrastructure ain't getting the attention it needs.
No, it's not. I think we're easily overlooked because you do not have locks and dams in your everyday life.
Right.
You'll use the same roads, you'll use the same railways, you'll use the same airports. But locks and dams, and I'll throw dredging in there, are things that are out of sight, out of mind, that have a huge impact on everyday life. It's a lot harder to lobby for it when the average citizen isn't that aware of it.
Do you get good response when you go lobbying? I imagine you spend your time, some of it, on the phone with your relative Congress people and all that.
Oh yeah, everybody loves a infrastructure idea until they have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And the Democratic side, of course, they have their methods of paying for it, which is a higher tax platform, and the Republicans typically want to toll and fee it to death. So I find myself in a very purple posture, going around and asking for these infrastructure projects.
Yeah.
It's a situation, and I'll run through some quick dates for you. There's 4 locks in the New Orleans area that really allow our Gulf Coast product to be moved in and out. These were all built between 1923 and 1961.
Wow.
These are 4 locks and dams that have all had outages within the last 6 months. These 4 locks have caused the American consumer to pay a lot of extra money due to underinvestment in their health and wellness.
Well, yeah, the key point there, right? You have to pass those costs along. You just have to.
And there's no choice. I mean, there's a lot of these cases, there's no pipeline to be built. There's no rail spur to jump on, and there's for sure no highway to offset this type of tonnage. These are things that our country could invest in that would be major benefits to everybody and allow, I think, new projects to come online, not just existing projects to benefit.
Do you still have your master's license or permit or captain's license, whatever it is that you need to run those barges?
I don't. Speaking of economics, I came into the working world here in 2009. I got sent to Houston with a brand new suit my dad bought me to go find some business to survive, and unfortunately didn't get the onboard experience that I was hoping for.
It's a pity. It's a pity. You ought to get out there, man. Austin Golding, he's run the family business, Golding Barge Lines in Vicksburg, Mississippi. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Kai.
Coming up,
we refer to the summer as El Diablo Viene, which means the devil has come to town.
Well, that can't be good, can it? First, low, let's do the numbers. Dow Industrial's up 87 points on this Fed day, 0.2%, closed at 37,903. NASDAQ down 52 points, 0.3%, finished at 15,605. The S&P 500 subtracted 17 points, also 0.3%. 5018. You just heard about the state of the barge biz, so let's check out a few marine shipping companies did on Wall Street, shall we? Barge operator Kirby Corporation fell 0.9%. Commodities shipper Star Bulk Carriers up 0.9%. Honolulu-based Matson Incorporated fell 2%. Hey, let's not get out of the water just yet. In his debut, cruise operator Viking gained 9%. All right, toweling off now, the American maker of clothes dryers and other appliances, Whirlpool, shaved off 0.3%. Today, General Electric declined 1 3/10%. Hey, so sometimes it's good to be a malicious hacker, I guess. In a Senate Finance Committee meeting today, United Health Group CEO Andrew Whitty confirmed the company had paid a $22 million ransom to hackers who breached the systems of a subsidiary. Said Whitty to the committee, and this is a quote, "This is one of the hardest decisions I ever had to make, and I wouldn't wish it on anyone." United Health eked out less than 0.1%. Today, you're listening to Marketplace.
Marketplace is supported by Rubrik, a cybersecurity company focused on securing the world's data. When cyber attacks put businesses, reputations, and careers at risk, Rubrik provides the power to bounce back fast and become cyber resilient. Rubrik.com. And by the Peter G. Peterson Foundation, a nonpartisan organization dedicated to raising awareness and accelerating action on America's fiscal challenges to build a brighter economic future for the next generation. Learn more at pgpf.org. And by Million Bazillion, a podcast from Marketplace that makes it fun and easy for parents to teach their kids about money. Listen to Million Bazillion wherever you get your podcasts.
WNYC is supported by FX's The Veil, an international spy thriller starring Elizabeth Moss. One woman has a secret and the other has a mission to reveal it before thousands of lives are lost. Now streaming only on Hulu.
If carbohydrates were a person, they'd probably consider hiring a crisis PR team. They get blamed for everything from weight gain to diabetes and heart disease. On the next All of It, the new cookbook Carbivore comes to the defense. Author Phoebe Lapine joins to talk about how to eat carbs sensibly, and we'll take your calls. Plus, we'll debate New York City sidewalk etiquette. Join us for All of It, weekdays at noon on WNYC.
You're listening to Marketplace here on WNYC. Stay with us for All Things Considered. That continues at 7 o'clock. 64 degrees right now. We're expecting mostly cloudy skies tonight, a low of 55 degrees. And then tomorrow it'll be mostly cloudy in the morning, then sunny with a high of 84.
This is Marketplace. I'm Kai Risdall. We've been doing a series the past couple of months called Breaking Ground, about how the trillions of dollars from the Inflation Reduction Act, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law, and the CHIPS Act are changing the way the government is in this economy and what that change actually looks like on the ground.
This is one of the biggest construction sites I've ever seen.
That's Washington Post columnist Heather Long, one of our Friday regulars. Yesterday, we were at a construction site in Phoenix, Arizona, where TSMC, the world's biggest semiconductor manufacturer, is building 3 new factories.
I'm actually surprised how much they have done for all that you hear in the headlines of delay, delay, delay.
Looks like an airplane hangar, except on, steroids or something. It's enormous.
Today, though, we start in a sort of an oasis in a rapidly developing part of town.
Good thing we got the off-road rental car.
You heard us reporting yesterday about all the stuff getting built in Phoenix, but this story is about the stuff that was on that land first.
Man, there's a lot of trees out here.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Native Resources.
Morning, sir. Kai Risdall, how are you?
Hi.
Good to see you.
Good to see
This is
you.
my colleague, Heather.
We're in a gated area with rows and rows of desert plants, trees and saguaro cacti, the kind you see on Arizona license plates.
We have some things moving in and out, so from a sound point of view, you can let us know whether that is...
It's all good. Tell us who you are and where we are, first of all.
My name is Rob Cater, and you're in North Phoenix, an area that 20 years ago was just a cotton farm, but right now has been just fully developed.
Fully developed is right. Across the street, there's a Goodwill and a pet care center, a brand new luxury apartment complex. 5 minutes down the road, there's a movie theater and a shopping center.
We have a property here of about 8 acres, and we store plants that we salvage from the field and resell to the public, as well as store for developers that we work with.
It's quite the business. How long you been doing this?
We've been doing this for about 30 years.
Rob Cater's company works with landowners to salvage native plants from and for future construction sites. And for 30 years now, local laws have required developers here to save certain species and in some cases replant them back into the landscape.
From an aesthetic point of view, we look at each and every tree as being a living statue. So when we replace the trees, we put them in areas of the project that show their best side, the way we prune trees, we look at them as living art. And that is appreciated, especially in the retail market.
This is a business at the intersection of conservation and development. Rob Cater found a niche, saving trees from destruction because local laws require it, and he's making money doing it by selling some of those trees back to high-end property owners. The company does more than $10 million in revenue every year.
Let's take a stroll over this way.
That'd be great.
Because we have trees on flatbed gooseneck trailers here.
These trees are going to customers who are buying them in the retail market.
So all right, so how much what is this tree and how much do I have to pay for it?
Okay, that tree is called an ironwood tree.
Yeah.
It's a 5-foot tree in diameter, and it's about $8,000.
Wow. So if I'm a developer doing a project and I need 150 trees, it's not nothing.
It's not nothing, and that's a really important point, Kai. What we have been able to do with developers is make them understand that not only is there an environmental advantage to saving the trees, both water and also shade and doing the right thing, but there also is a monetary advantage. You can't buy these trees at a nursery. These trees grow too slowly. So as they look out at these trees, they see a value that really makes sense.
Right.
So how many people do you employ? Have you been on a hiring spree?
We employ about 80 full-time, and then we employ and utilize what's called the H-2B temporary worker program, and we bring in anywhere from about 60 to 100.
And how do you handle working outside in the summer?
That's really a key, and it's a safety issue for all of us. The answer is get out there early. We start at 4 o'clock in the morning often, before the sun really comes out. But the other aspect of that is the increased water usage that we have to go ahead and deal with. So winter is nice, like today, and we refer to the summer as El Diablo Viene, which means the devil has come to town. Yeah, but I wanted to show you a saguaro.
That's why I'm here to see the saguaros.
Right.
So we're going to walk past all these plants on the flatbed.
So has business picked up with the semiconductor boom?
Business has picked up for the last 30 years. Phoenix has been on a tear for a long period of time, but it has accelerated and decelerated at times.
As we said yesterday, Phoenix has been key to the U.S. semiconductor industry for decades. Intel has been making chips here since the 1980s. But recently, with the federal money coming in through the CHIPS Act, huge expansions are happening. Remember, TSMC, the world's biggest chip maker, is building 3 new factories at a cost of more than $65 billion just a couple of miles from where we're standing. And that is a business opportunity.
TSMC came here about 3 years ago, and we had daily calls to Taiwan to explain to them our system, which went from one manager to another manager to another manager every day because it was difficult for them to wrap their heads around why we have to save the trees.
Right.
But eventually they caught on when we explained to them that we could save not only the trees, but in the long run, these trees would save them money on water. So basically, once we were able to monetize the concept to them, then it's easy to do the right thing if you see it as being an advantage to the company.
So we were out there yesterday. I mean, obviously it's a building site right now, huge. Are you saying that some of these plants and trees will go back to that site?
What we did at TSMC and what we normally do is we salvage the materials and then we nursery them on site. So up to 1,000 trees were salvaged at TSMC, and right now 600 have been replanted and 400 are still in their nursery ready to replant.
So there's somewhere out there in the corner of that construction site.
That's right. That's correct.
It can take saguaro cacti up to 100 years to start growing arms, which is why the fully grown ones can sell for thousands of dollars.
So back in the corner.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Now we're starting.
Rob had 3 of them, about 20 feet high.
Phoenix, where we're about to transfer about 2,000 of these from their native state into a nursery.
But as more companies, jobs, and people come to Phoenix, the land underneath those plants is getting more valuable too.
You got 8 acres here. Developers are, I'm sure, calling you. It's got to be tempting.
It is tempting. It is tempting. Right now, we're just taking it day by day, but there's a lot of development. We have actually lost 3 of our largest nurseries to development because of the numbers that were put in front of them. And that caused an incredible change in our market and our supply when these nurseries that we were all dependent upon turned over and sold to large-scale development.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I don't think we're going to stop at thing. And therefore, I think the thing to do is, if we're not going to be able to stop it, let's at least figure out a way that we can balance it and make it something where it's just not, let's just blow it away.
It's becoming supercharged, though, that growth with TSMC and all the money that's coming in here, right? There's going to be literally thousands and thousands of people coming to this area, which 30 years ago was desert, to do jobs in high-tech and semiconductor development.
Yeah.
It's a big change in a short period of time.
Oh, it's a huge change, and the idea is the change is coming. We need to understand it and get society ready for it.
That's part of the long game that we're talking about here in Phoenix. The government incentives for semiconductor companies are changing what this economy looks like in all kinds of ways you might not expect. From that full to bursting pipefitters training center we visited yesterday to this 8-acre tree storage lot. Both of those places are essential to rebuilding the semiconductor supply chain in the United States. Another essential part of that growth? Readying the workers for the factories themselves.
I've been unemployed for over a year now, and I came across semiconductor tech and thought I'd give it a shot.
On the program tomorrow, a fresh start. Maybe. If, by the way, you've been hearing our stories from Phoenix the past couple of days and thinking to yourself, water, Kai, water, Phoenix is a desert. Well, our climate change podcast, How We Survive, just did a whole season on that. You can find it at marketplace.org or wherever you get your podcasts. And I would be remiss if I did not point out here that Heather Long had a whole big piece in the Washington Post this week about our reporting trip. The link, of course, is on their website or ours. You decide.
Marketplace is supported by Progressive. Progressive Commercial Insurance offers personalized rates and customizable coverages for your business vehicles. More at progressivecommercial.com. And by Rubrik. When cyber attacks put businesses at risk, Rubrik provides the power to bounce back fast. More at Rubrik.com.
This final note on the way out today, just because it is going to come up in the next, 7 months until the election. There was a question today to Chair Powell about the Fed and how the politics of this moment might affect what the central bank is trying to do. Here's Chair Powell one last time.
You know, it's hard enough to get the economics right here. These are difficult things, and if we were to take on a whole nother set of factors and use that as a new filter, it would reduce the likelihood we'd actually get the economics right. So that's how we think about it around here. And, you know, we're at peace over it. We know that we'll do what we think is the right thing when we think it's the right thing, and we'll all do that. And that's how everybody around here thinks. So I can't say it enough that we just don't go down that road. If you go down that road, where do you stop?
6 months. 6 months till the election. But it's going to be long, no matter how long it is. Our media production team includes Brian Allison, Jake Cherry, Jessen Dueller, Drew Jostad, Gary O'Keefe, Charlton Thorpe, Juan Carlos Torado, and Becca Weinman. Jeff Peters is the manager of media production around here. I'm Kai Risdall. We will see you tomorrow, everybody. This is APM.